this demonstration, we're going to cover the use of page breaks and section breaks. So let's open up a sample document here. And what I'm going to do is I'm first going to type in some text onto a couple different pages. So let's write page 1 on the first page. And I'll just make this a little bit bigger so we can see it easier. And I'll just zoom out a little bit. And now we want to put page 2, we want to write page 2 on the second page. Well, there's a couple ways of doing this. The first way might be, your first thought might be to hit enter and keep on entering down until we get to page number 2, and here we type page number 2. Well, the problem with this is if we really want to keep this stuck to this page and we come up here and we write some more text, basically what we've done is we've bumped everything else below this down a little bit. So now page 2 is no longer at the top of the page. So to fix this, so we can lock page 2 onto this heading at the very top of a page, there's another way to do this. So let's delete all this, and here what we can do is we can insert a page break. There's a couple different ways of doing this. From the menu we can go insert, and under the pages there is a page break option, or we can just hit control enter, and you can see the shortcut is actually written there. Right here, control return is showing on the screen. So let's hit this, and once we do that, it brings us down to the second page. And so let's write page 2 now. And we come back up here, up to page 1, and let's start typing some more text in here. And you'll notice down on the second page, this text has not changed. It's always going to stay at the top of a page no matter what we put above it. That's what a page break is. If we keep on typing more, let's put some gibberish in here, and even if we scroll down to the next page, you'll see that that page number 2 heading has now been brought down to page number 3, but it's always going to stay at the top of a page. So that's what a page break is. So let's delete this, and we'll discuss what a section break is. But before we do that, let's insert a header. So we go insert header, and I'll put in the header, this is my header. And I'll make that a little bit bigger to see it. Okay, now a header is always going to stay the same on every single page. So if we zoom out a little bit here and we put in a page break and we go down to a second page, you'll notice that both pages have the same header. And if we change one, say modified, you're going to see at page number 2 it also changes. So they're always going to be the same, they're always linked together, and that's because headers and footers are a page level formatting. So it's going to apply to all the pages, just like when you change the color, you change the orientation, it's going to do it to all the different pages. Well, in some cases you don't want this to happen. You want headers on some pages and different headers on others, and maybe no headers on other ones. So if we want to change that, what we need to do is we need to learn how to use section breaks. So to put in a section break, let's just go back to one page here. So we only have one page with the one header. And under the page layout menu, you can see an option here. It's called breaks. And actually you can see the first option here is a page break. So here's another way you can put in a page break. But if we go down to the bottom of this menu here, it's called section breaks. And let's put in a next page section break, which is essentially a page break plus a section break. It's going to jump us down to the next page. And there's a section break, and if you want to see where the section breaks and the page breaks are, go back to the show hide paragraph marks option here, and it'll actually show you where the section break is. So it says section break, and it's a next page type of section break. So if you ever wonder where they are, you can go there and take a look. So now we have 2 different pages on our document, and each one is in a different section. That means we can start modifying them a little bit differently, so that they're not always going to be the same in terms of page formatting. So let's go down to the first header, and let's erase this modified text I just put in, and come down to the second page, and you see it can change. That's because if you double click on the second page header, it says it's same as previous. So even though you put in a section break, it's still going to link it to the previous page. We can change that. When you double click on the headers, a special header and footers tool ribbon shows up, and we uncheck this option here. It says link to previous. So let's unlink it so it's not going to be linked to the previous section. And now you can modify each one differently. So let's put second header here, and if you go back up to the top, you'll see that the original header stays up here, and you can have different headers now on different pages. And you can do the same thing with page numbering. If you want the first few pages of your document to have one numbering scheme, and then you want the page numbers to start over again, that's where you're going to have to learn how to use section breaks. And we can do different things also. If we say go to the second page and we go to page layout, we can change the orientation of it. We can make the second page landscape, and that's because it's in the second section. It's now a landscape format, while the first section, which has the first page, is still in a portrait. We can also change the size of the paper, so we can change the size of the pages in one section and not change the other one. So we changed this one to legal, where the first page is still the regular 8.5 by 11. Other options you can do, you can put in we can put in a watermark. Let's put a watermark just on the first page within the first section. We can put a confidential watermark, and on the second page that did not show up because you have a section break. So this is one of those things that a lot of people don't know exist in Microsoft Word, and particularly when you're working on really long documents, there's often a requirement to use section breaks to break up page numbering, page headers, for example. So that concludes this demonstration on page breaks and section formatting.